You guys ready? All right. Being it's 7:30, we'll call this meeting to order. And thank everyone for allowing us the extra half hour to attend the PEP session at the high school. Let the record show that all members are present. Mr. Frank, remind me, this is when we did the national or the Pledge of Allegiance. It's not in here.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not singing that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. So we've all got a copy of the minutes to look over. Does anybody have any additions or corrections to offer? If not, we'll let the minutes stand as presented. And Mrs. Browning, do you have claims?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve all claims and payrolls as submitted.
I have a motion to approve the claims and payrolls. I have a second from Mr. Omer. Do I have any questions or comments on the claims? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. 7-0. Looks like no donations this month. We'll move into our information report.
Okay, for information report, got a lot of good information to share, some recognition to provide tonight. So we'll get started. The one thing I did want to just make note to the board members, Evan Lips, our food service director, brought this handout by. It's just kind of an update with stuff going on in food service. So if you want to take that with you, just basic info from the food service cafeteria. Next, we want to recognize our staff members of the month, sponsored by the Big Injury Law Firm. We've got 3 Washington Community Schools folks here. First, we'll have Mr. Hancock from Washington High School. He's being recognized by Mr. Holland. And Mr. Holland says, Mr. Hancock is a dedicated and compassionate teacher for Washington High School. He's a business teacher who also supports the school store and leadership roles in both BPA and DECA organizations. In addition to those duties, he also manages the peer tutoring program. He has a great rapport with all the students he teaches. He uses real-world examples to help his students prepare for the next step after high school. He certainly demonstrates his commitment to WHS students by being a positive role model and setting examples of a positive work ethic. Students enjoy his classes because the way he teaches and his ability to connect with all students. Mr. Hancock shows an unwavering commitment to the students and is being a positive role model for all. Congratulations. Next, we have Taylor Gray, our secretary at Washington Junior High School. She's been nominated by Mr. Chapman, and he writes, I am honored to nominate our Taylor Gray, our Washington Junior High School secretary, for Staff Member of the Month because she truly serves as the heartbeat of our building. From navigating the morning rush to solving logistical puzzles before they even reach my desk, Taylor ensures our daily operations run with seamlessly. She serves as a welcoming first point of contact for our families and a steady support system for our staff, often juggling a dozen high-priority tasks at once. Our school wouldn't just be less organized without her, it would be significantly less vibrant, and this recognition is a well-deserved nod to the invaluable work she does behind the scenes every day. Congratulations. And next we have Julie Martindale with Sodexo Food Services, and she's leads our Washington upper elementary cafeteria. And she's been nominated by our food service director, Evan Lips. And Evan says, Julie has been an important part of the food service team for 9 years. She started at Lena Dunn and quickly established herself as a leader and a superstar. She was promoted to kitchen lead at Upper Elementary in 2023 and has continually improved the meal service there from what it was and is loved by her students. Julie is also an important member of our summer meals team, assisting with delivery to all our summer sites. Congratulations and well-deserved, Julie. Congratulations. Next, we have a report from Mike Holkamp with Hagerman. Give us an update on the Washington primary project.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Murphy and the public. So what have we been doing? Well, the past 30 days, we've continued with design. We've got some of our paperwork in, bonds, insurance, escrows. We've advanced the drawings to what I'll call permit drawings and bidding drawings. We have some addendums or some, changes kind of in the works to tweak those. We're real close to getting the permit with the city of Washington for the civil and drainage. And we want to thank them again. I think I mentioned that last month. We want to thank them for changing their rule to have a smaller storm detention. It means less excavation, less money of the school being spent. And let's see, we've been working still with those property purchases. The temporary pre-K playground is built and now in use. We've been doing some tree trimming and brush clearing and some temporary parking. And we did issue one formal contract to Donnie Gress to be the site excavation. We solicited multiple bids and we ended up getting two, and he had the apparent successful bid. And so he'll be getting started soon. And we've issued a subcontract recently to purchase the new playground equipment and to C&T for the food service. So they'll just start coming here quick now. So that's good. We had another pre-bid meeting today with several contractors. So those are some of the things of the past and some of the current things. Really what we're headed to is trying to be able to really get the construction going. We're working with the school, Ms. Murphy, to get a start date, hopefully of around March 2nd, to close off the parking lot and change the traffic flow. So that'll be a big event, kind of a milestone. We'll be getting temporary fence up, and the car rider thing will change, and we have a building. So any questions?
March 2nd's a big date, and we're getting ready. So we're excited, and we'll get our community informed so that everybody knows the traffic pattern around Washington primary is going to be changing at those early morning times and in the afternoon.
That's right. Well, good luck to the girls.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you. Thank you, Mike. Before we move on to the next item, which will be Dr. Steve Peterson, I wanted to publicly acknowledge that our Dr. Steve Peterson, our assistant superintendent, has recently earned his PhD. He defended his dissertation up at Indiana State University in Terre Haute last Friday. And I can attest that over the last 2 years, he's come in super early and he's stayed extra late, keeping that light on in the corner office over there. And he's an asset to Washington Community Schools with his leadership and his expertise. And congratulations to reaching your goal.
Well, thank you.
Dr. Peterson's going to share with us tonight some STEM updates.
Yeah, excellent. And I do have extra copies of my dissertation in my office. Check it out for some insightful reading. So I have the pleasure of doing one of my favorite things in education, and that's to brag on people. Whether it's students or tonight, it's going to be, our adults. A few years ago, we were partnered with an organization called SCALE with the Department of Defense. We were a handful of schools invited to participate in the creation of a microelectronics K through 12 curriculum. And that has grown. Obviously, the work that's happening up at Crane is, pretty significant as well. And with our partnership with ROI, we've created a hub. And this past year, we've had 5 or 6 kids into the academy. Next year, we're going to expand that as well. Along the way, we've had several of our teachers, participate as coaches and fellows and writing those lessons. And those lessons are going to be distributed across the country. So it's having a huge impact. Well, one of the professors from Purdue University took this kind of to the next level and applied for a National Science Federation or Foundation grant. It's called the Noyce Fellowship. And because of our work and the work that the teachers here have been doing, we got 6 of the 18 teachers selected from Washington. So I've asked them to come tonight and just say just a word or two about the impact that it's going to have for their students. So come on up, Noyce Fellows.
Well, I'll lead. So I think this is a really cool opportunity. We started a few years ago with Scale K-12, being teacher fellows, co-developing lessons with all the resources at Purdue and everything, and just getting it going with all this to this point where we do have, 6 of us here out of the 18 positions. I think that's really, really neat. I think that's a testament to, like the dedication and the training we have in STEM, in our school corporation. So I'm really looking forward to using this and helping our students grow, give them more opportunities. This can only be a good thing for our kids. Yeah. And so that's the most important part, I think we kind of all feel the same.
Yeah.
So.
And I think one of the best parts of it's all been good, being involved with Scale, but I think one of the best parts has been the vertical alignment, where we have taken from K to 12 and kind of specifically said what our kids are going to do at different levels. And so one of the parts of this fellowship is going to be to make sure we follow through with that alignment plan. So I'm excited about that part. Anybody else?
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the neat things, as you can see here, is we've got folks from all grade levels. So we're impacting, the littles all the way up to the bigs and beyond. And just a little bit about the fellowship here. It's a 5-year commitment for these folks. So they'll be involved in some summer trainings and spreading of lessons to their colleagues. And it's a nice additional salary stipend addition. And I think somebody's getting a master's out of it.
You are too?
I am.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
so they're gonna get their master's out of it as
Yeah,
From-
that's really good, yeah.
from Purdue. So that's pretty awesome. So our Noyce Fellows. So keeping the good news rolling, Patty. Patty's been, instrumental in her role as the STEM coordinator throughout the district, touching all the different buildings and working with teachers. And we, within the last week, received news that every school in Washington Communities District is now STEM certified by the national organization known as STEM.org, which is a national organization that's been around for 30 some years. It's been around. And so we work with our partners with EES, and they kind of helped us navigate some of the applications of that. So we got the certificates for each of the schools. I don't know if the website's been updated. We were kind of sitting on it a little bit because next Thursday, tell them what we got
We
going next
are
Thursday.
hosting our first STEM night. So it's going to be K-12. We have a lot of the teachers that you've seen here are going to be there, kind of showcasing what they do in their classroom. We've got the high school education class. A couple of the students there they've created an activity for people to participate in as they go through. So just kind of like our robotics where we go K-12, what we do in robotics. This is kind of a demonstration of K-12, what we kind of do with our students. So.
Yeah. Highlight some Project Lead the Way, some microelectronics.
And we have the ROI Momentum Band
Correct.
coming, and then the Crane STEM program. We have some people from there coming, so it should be hopefully fun.
So, yeah, a lot of good news and a lot of hard work been put into this behind the scenes by these guys. So awesome job.
Great.
Great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And next we have an update from Mrs. Murphy and Mrs. Niehaus. They're going to talk about our new and improved preschool for 26-27.
Hi. All right. I just made a little slideshow just so I just kind of look at it while I'm trying to talk. So one of the biggest changes that we made was changing the name to Little Hatch Preschool, and where hope begins and futures grow. First thing I want to do is I want to thank Mr. Frank, because when we went to him and said, hey, we have this idea, we want to go full time, we want to, he was like, hey, what do you need? What do you want us to do? And we went to quite a few, 4 different all-day preschools, and really studied them and looked at them and got the ins and outs of how does it run, what's the benefits, and Mr. Frank was really generous about giving that time to us to go visit these schools, and I learned a whole lot from them. I also want to thank the school board for allowing us to do this and feeding into our early childhood program. Okay, so I thought what I would do is just kind of read the philosophy that we are taking on to the new preschool. And so it's our full day play-based preschool program is built on the belief that all children are capable of success, no exceptions. Aligning with the Kids of Hope philosophy, we provide a safe, nurturing, and inclusive learning environment where every child is valued and supported. Learning experiences are intentionally designed to be developmentally appropriate and meaningful, recognizing that young children learn best through hands-on, active engagement and positive relationships. Our educators plans experiences that support the whole child, including social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and language development. It keeps going. Teachers build strong, caring relationships with children and families and serve as treasure hunters by recognizing each child's strengths and celebrating growth. Our full day schedule offers a balanced routine of small group and whole group learning, active play, outdoor time, rest, and consistent daily routines that support children's well-being and readiness for kindergarten. Indiana's early learning foundations provide the framework for our curriculum and guide our learning experience to support each child's growth and development. So a few of the changes that we made was, of course, the name change. And then, so the time, the full day, it would be from 7, they can come with their siblings at 7:30, they could be dropped off. And then at 2:35 would be the pickup, just like the other children at the primary building. And then also Path to Quality is yes, it is. The state of Indiana's kind of did this rating scale to rate the quality of preschools, daycares, early childhood. And so I am in the process of getting back on that. Mary did a wonderful job, but then she decided she didn't want to do it anymore. So I'm in the process of getting back on the path to quality. So that's going to be another change.
It just kind of holds you to a higher standard through different checks with the state, through different people coming in and critiquing how the program is run, what curriculum is used, what guidelines we follow. So that's something she came to me about, and she wants to hold our preschool to that higher standard.
Okay, so why did we decide to choose a full day program? So one of the reasons was just so that children can build a stamina for a longer school schedule, develop independence with routines. Children need routines and that consistency. And then just more easily to structure learning environment, reduce multiple transitions. One of the mains was the parents coming in, dropping off, have to turn around, come back, pick them up, then we do it again for the second class. And to reduce anxiety of going into the kindergarten or coming into this big building.
We learned when switching to primary, like how many students are not exposed to preschool. And when you look at the local preschools, they either only go half day and do daycare the other part of the day, or they may go to daycare full time, but it's only 2 or 3 days a week. And so some of you have been in our building in August, and those kindergartners struggle. And so our hope is by moving to a full day preschool, it's still play-based, but it's still the exposure of the day, the exposure of the routines, the exposure of the building, and those expectations. And so hopefully they'll be more ready for kindergarten.
As a teacher, I could get into more, like right now, within just 3 hours, you start something and you have to stop. So it takes me a whole week to do one lesson. So here I could get deeper into activities and my tail lessons and my projects. And I don't have to rush the kids. They can, just avoid that rushing transition. Let's see, more individual support so we can develop those strengths and observe those challenges and try to get them where they need to be, provide personalized guidance and support developmental milestones at their pace. And one of my biggest things was the family benefits of the parents don't have to take off from work twice, because we start at 8:20. So then they can drop them off before they go to work with their siblings. Then they don't have to come pick up their child at their lunchtime. So the benefits for the family is they're loving it. And just to reduce the need for additional childcare, because most of them come to me, then they go to daycare after that.
Or vice versa.
Or
Daycare,
yes.
and then go to preschool.
Okay, so my hopes and dreams for the preschool. And I've already kind of put this one in front because I've already started in on this one here. So I'm working with the Daviess County Community Foundation, and they are also working with the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe City. And then and 8 other community foundations across the Indiana Uplands Regional. So what it is it's called Ready Early Learning in the Indiana Uplands. And this is a regional initiative implemented by Indiana Uplands Smart Start program, strengthens the quality and capacity of early childhood education. And so this week was kind of a big win because they had asked me to come and see our preschool as is now, because they were very excited about us going to a full day program. And so they're coming to us and seeing what we need, what kind of resources we can do. And so she's bringing a whole team to us 1st of March, I believe. And so they're going to just see what we need resource-wise and help us. So not for sure what this is all going to look like yet, but it's a great resource and just making those connections in the community too.
Yeah, unfortunately for Danielle, being in preschool, especially right now, she's kind of down in the basement by herself. Like, she still collaborates with the rest of the staff and talks to the rest of us. But you kind of live in your own world. You don't have that other preschool to collaborate with. So when we got the email about this, I was like, you need to go. You need to collaborate with other preschools. Even though we went to 4 other preschools to see what they were like, this gives her a support. And then when she came and told me that they wanted to support us, I'm like, yes, we want their support. So we're looking forward to this partnership.
The hopes and dreams for a little hatch preschool is to provide a high-quality early childhood education. Our hope is that this program becomes more than a preschool, that it becomes a place where hope begins and futures grow. And when these children walk into kindergarten, they will not just be ready for school, but they will believe in themselves. Yep, Matt. Any questions?
When is registration for preschool for next year?
28th, February 28th.
April 28th.
Okay.
April 28th.
Okay.
Yep. So it'll be after preschool or kindergarten pre-registration. We kind of get that over with, and then we move into preschool pre-registration. So, I told her I was thinking about some of the other benefits as well, but like right now when we have a weather delay, morning preschool doesn't come because it's not enough time. When we released early today, we canceled afternoon preschool. So a full day preschool would still allow kids to come and get most of the day, just like all of the rest of our kiddos. Another thing is like, I've been having some guest authors come into our building. Well, I can only have them for so many hours, and scheduling them in the middle of the day to hit her morning and afternoon is in the middle of lunch. And so I can't schedule them in the middle of the day. And so going to a full day will allow her kids, no matter what, to be a part of all the events that happen at primary. So there's lots of benefits to this. In the new construction, there will be 2 preschool rooms. We're not for sure what that looks like yet, but the future of primary's preschool, Little Hatch Preschool, is only going to grow and get bigger. And Danielle's doing a great job working to make that happen.
Maybe get a little bit of a preview of what the courtyard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So through lots of our ideas, Mr. Frank, Danielle, myself, so originally, if I think back to the meeting we had at primary, and a lot of questions were happening about what is this courtyard gonna look? And it was all concrete at the moment, and people are like, well, what else? And the courtyard's always been the biggest topic at primary, I feel like. So what we're gonna do is it's gonna align very closely to Kids at Hope. And so along one side of the building in the courtyard will be little houses. So like there's like a farmer's market, a fire station, a police station, I can't remember, a barn. And so you think of those destinations that you're traveling to, what maybe their future hobbies or careers are. And then our preschoolers love to ride trikes, and it gets a lot of energy out. And so the middle will be a trike path. And there's like little gas station and fuel pumps that they can fuel their trike up at before they go to these places. We're hoping to have like a little movement path, sensory path on one of them that's using more natural elements. A shed will be out there to store those items. That's also where the art room and music room feed out to. So we're going to try to have some easels out there that they can paint on, and maybe a couple instruments that aren't too loud, because that courtyard does feed into the classroom. So we've got to be a little bit careful there. But that's not even the preschool playground. So that'll be a place for them to access and go to, but also kindergarten and first grade as well. Probably second grade as well, depending on the pieces we finalize. But then we're also with the playground fundraiser, looking at adding some nice pieces to the preschool playground as well. So only great things for Little Hatch Preschool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And on Tuesday, Scott and Rob went up to Indianapolis for the ISBA legislation breakfast.
State House Day is what they call it, I think. It's typically they invite the board president, and if you have a legislative liaison. Tim and I went before, Rob and I went this year. They have a panel that comprised of the legislative leaders on the education committee, typically that kind of give an update and a little bit of a Q&A and that sort of thing at our luncheon. And then you hope that your legislators come over and eat lunch with you. We saw some different legislators there, wasn't necessarily ours, but it's a good day just to get a feel for what's going on up there. This year was a little disappointing. It's so late in the session that there wasn't, we basically were hearing what's getting ready to happen, not things that we could shape, necessarily have a lot of influence of trying to suggest our position on. Rob's going to give us an update on some of what we heard, but just Rob, help me with this, but talking about the preschool, I know that was one of the topics that the legislature's wanting to work on, is bringing back some more of that voucher. That's the ending of that program, or the cutbacks that have happened over the years have not been very popular.
No.
I think
No.
that's
was,
on their agenda, hopefully for next year.
well, next year, of course, is the budget year. It's the long session, so they're wanting to address that. The other thing that we heard was they intend to begin, not necessarily get it done next year, but maybe repeal or modify the dollar rule when it comes to buildings, which would allow a school corporation to recoup the money that the local taxpayers have put into it over the years, as opposed to making it available to a dollar lease or a dollar sale to some entity that may or may not have a lot of local connection. So that was good to hear. And like Scott said, the other was good to hear about the potential coming back there. The biggest thing we're going to have fun with is the electronics, the phones. I'd say it's probably going to happen bell to bell. There's concern, not so much about that. No big deal. I mean, if the kids will adjust, we'll have to help the parents feel a little calmer about not having access to the phone every day. The biggest issue is going to be storage. Is this going to be an unfunded mandate kind of thing where when they get there, they're going to have to put them in a bag, or we're going to have to provide that and pay for that?
Is locker an option?
Well, it could be, but
I'm gonna put them on the spot because Cody and Brian and I were actually talking about this morning, and Cody can kind of talk a little bit about what he's seen at the junior high, which we essentially have the bell-to-bell in place at Washington Junior High already. It's gonna be Washington High School. It's gonna have to make the change.
Yeah, and a lot of the principal forums, we talked about what really bell-to-bell means and what does storage mean?
Yeah.
What does no access mean? I can tell you what our policy is now is the moment they walk in the door, needs to be put away and put in their locker. We tell them turned off. Does that always happen like it's supposed to? Let's be honest, no. But then they can get it after school. They don't have it in the hallways. They don't have it in the classrooms or anything like that. If we have any issues with that, we take it, parent, do the whole thing. If we have a second issue, they turn it into us, and then we keep it downstairs on a desk all day long. We have about 3 or 4 of those. But for the most part, I don't think we have a big phone issue at the junior high because we're pretty strict on it at the beginning. Now, do we have kids, quite frankly, who go up and get in their locker and do the little duck in and try to send a quick text? Of course, you know what I mean? I think we definitely have that. But for the most part, we don't have a wide scale issue. You don't see them at lunchtime. They're not walking around down here, running into people or anything like that. So, Brian and I have talked about that. Mr. Frank and I have talked about that. We feel pretty confident our policy right now is bell to bell, and we're going to kind of roll with that because we don't see it as a major discipline issue with us. It is going to be a big adjustment for the high school because they don't have the same go forth we do. The kids don't also have them out in their class, but they have them in the hallways, they have them in the cafeteria, whereas we don't have any of that. They have to stay in their lockers all day long. And so we're going to, at least until maybe we get some more feedback, going to run with that as our bell to bell because unfunded mandate, we got no money to make it happen. So we got to kind of use what we have. And we think at least now our system at the junior high works for us and we don't have any major issues. So we're going to kind of run with that, but I'd answer any questions if you have any on it.
I think I would comment because one of the legislatures brought up that they felt like if you're allowing the kids to bring it to school versus a leave it at home policy, that was something that we could potentially charge for, that we provide a storage area.
The problem is that
I don't like the idea. I'm just saying that's going to be out
they
there.
don't pay for it.
Right. So What,
Yeah.
what they were suggesting is basically, if you want your students to have their phone until they get to school and turn it in and then get it back right after school, that there's up to $100 charge. I'm not saying I want to do that. I'm just telling you that's going to be out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of schools, other schools that have lock boxes. One of the more popular things is they have Chromebook carts that lock. We have Chromebook carts that our junior high kids put their Chromebooks in. They're not lockable, they're just open, but that they lock. And so they go to their seventh period. They go to their seventh period to start every morning, and then they exchange their cell phone for their Chromebook. And then at the end of the day, they exchange them back. That's the most popular option. It's one of those things that, like, to me, we start getting into like keeping track of some of that stuff, and it's like one goes missing while it's in our storage or whatever, and we have in our phone book policy that we're not responsible for any of those things, and so we try to keep that to a limited. We've not had any of those cases. It just kind of runs down a hill with some of that stuff. I'd be interesting to see how some of that's adjudicated at some point. And we have very little pushback from parents on phones at the junior high school. Most of them want us to take them because they can't get it away from their kid themselves. And so that kind of is, I don't think, going to be too much of an issue, but it is going to be an adjustment for the high school. But that's lock boxes and things like that. I've seen the pouches, but those are incredibly expensive to try to do those and unmagnetize those and magnetize those at the beginning of every single day. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at with it in terms of trying to be cost effective, but evaluating now, we don't see it as a major discipline issue currently. We have much other stuff, and it's our cafeteria is louder, I think, because the kids talk to each other and don't spend time on the phones.
That was a discussion at the thing up there, actually. I guess was it Fort Wayne area?
Fort Wayne area, yes.
They've been that way for 2 years in every building.
Yeah, I get some things that kids walk into our 7th and 8th grade, and I was like, oh man, your kids are loud. It's like, because they don't have their phones. What else are they going to do but talk to each other? Right. I'd rather have that than buried down and not paying a bit of attention. So
I'll just say whatever you're doing at the junior high level is working. I have students in both high school and junior high right now. And I hear my son say, what, Campbell, you talk to Campbell during the day? We don't have our phones. And I'm like, good, good. So, I see both sides of it, I talk to my daughter during the day, but he understands. So whatever rules and regulations you guys have put forth there. And then my 2 kids, it would be my boy that would be actually doing maybe not what he's supposed to be doing, but pushing the issue, I should say.
Yeah, he does all right for the most part.
Hey, he does. He's following the rules there, and I think you guys are doing a good job at the
His
junior
mom's
high.
working with him, so.
Yeah. He takes after his mom, is that what we're gonna say?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Cody, while you're up here, something else that you just made me think of there is there's a piece of legislation there addressing the Chromebooks, the electronics that we provide for them to take home. One of our legislators apparently saw his kids on YouTube on their take-home devices and did not like that. So now there's legislation that parents should be able to change the settings on these devices to when they're at home. I think that when they're at home, if I tell them they're not going to be using it, they're not going to use it. I don't know why we need to grant that access, but just be aware that is something that's out
so
there.
At the junior high, once again, currently that's not an issue because our junior high kids don't take their devices home. They're kept we have classroom sets, so they're kept in their Chromebook cart, and so the teacher has complete control over each class. So the kid doesn't even have an individually assigned Chromebook. They have access to it every single class period, but they don't have an individually assigned Chromebook, and they don't take them home. I like it like that because the teacher has control whether you get them out or you don't get them out. And it's kind of exactly what you're talking to. You're not having to police as much. If the kid has one, because 13-year-olds are squirrels, no matter how mature they are. Most of you have had one at some point, and it's just the way it is. And so it helps with that policing a little bit. We do have this program called BlindWise that is what the teachers use to lock out kids from various things. So if a teacher doesn't want somebody on YouTube, they can go on and they can shut YouTube down for that class period, or they can shut down different websites and force kids to be on one thing. And so they can set parameters and stuff like that. So that's where I would say, like, we'd have to look at the capabilities
Well,
there. If we have to go in that direction.
Lacey has already told me that LineWise has a parent
Function.
feature that if
Yeah.
that comes a thing, we'll be ready.
Yeah, so we'll be ready to go.
And that was part of the discussion up there, was that some of these different applications or programs,
Mhm.
if you talk to them, they have options as far as controlling. They just don't have them turned on because no one's we haven't asked for them.
Right.
Now, the question is it gonna come at a little bit of a cost? Oh, yeah, we'll turn these on to help you out, but it's gonna cost you,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
that. Yeah.
That's something to find out.
Yeah.
Something to be aware of.
Thanks, Cody.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions for me? Yeah.
The other kind of big one is Senate Bill 76, which is about immigration. And it looks like it's probably going to get passed. We just need to be sure that we know, not us, but our people know what's admissible.
The biggest thing that I saw when I was reading through that here just within the week was the type of warrant that I
Mhm.
think our current, which our Neola just updated. That's been one of those updates we've done in the last year, was like how school officials engage with various law enforcement officials. And I think the big change that's gonna be like a change for everybody is like an administrative warrant versus a judicial warrant. And so, yeah, there'll be some updates.
Well, there was some, and there was some comment made about the roster. I don't know if that's the exact term, but you know, there was some basic roster information or names that we would be obligated to share. But beyond that, there's something that
Yeah.
and that's where it's gonna get tricky, I'm afraid, is.
Yeah.
If we have the name of the parent or contact information for the parent, and they come and request it, we have to provide it because we've collected it. I think that
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
change that they were mandating, basically.
So
Does that
that's-
sound right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it goes through, we just need to be educated pretty quick so that we do the right thing and don't get our butts in a sling over invasion of privacy and the FERPA and all that. So,
Right.
those are probably the two biggest things.
I'd mention too, that it sounds like, in our fiscal meeting that we had, Carrie mentioned the loss of the local income tax funds that we're currently collecting. It sounds like that's getting pushed back, maybe even to 29
Yeah,
now.
I think we're
They're
gaining.
looking to push it back. And
So get that past the next legislative session, and they're aware that they've got some problems with what they did with Senate and Roll Back One, and hopefully there's gonna be some movement there. But one of the legislators was very blunt in the fact that, part of what they're trying to get accomplished is they'd like to see some more consolidation through out the state. I think the exact comment he made, but it's not a quote either, but it was something to the effect of a county with 50,000 residents and 7 school districts is a problem in their eyes, and that's obviously not us. They were asked the question, "Are you just trying to get us all to consolidate?" And he said, the guy was honest about it and said, "Yeah, we're trying to give you the message that you're going to have to look at some consolidation." Of course, for me, consolidation can be what we're doing a little bit, going down to one less building.
Yeah.
But they've also tried to tie our hands with the dollar rule. As Rob said, they're looking for that to go away. It's going away for IPS soon. And they look for it to be statewide soon after that. What was the guy's name? Greg Good?
Greg Good. He's from the Terre
area.
Haute area, yes.
He's really pushing that.
Yeah.
So,
And as you mentioned, the IPS, there is a bill that they're kicking around pretty hard, and it's not about us yet, but it's about having an appointed board and taking away some of the responsibility of the elected board, and a district that's getting kicked around. And we saw what happened with the Liberty School Corporation last year. They just shut it down, or they gave it I think it was Liberty, it's called Liberty, over on the east side of the state. So And the idea of the consolidation thing is not new. I mean, you take that back to when Mitch Daniel was first elected as governor. One of the first things he wanted to do was go back to a county superintendent. They didn't see the need for, and it's a dollar thing. And from a dollar perspective, okay, you could probably make the argument, but from the people side of it, I mean, similar to what like you said, similar to what we're doing here. I did learn a lot about, as a footnote, I did learn a lot about automatic grain wagons and combines, and Scott he can drive a big truck very well. There was all kinds of knowledge that I gained that day.
I'm just a little scared of my pickup in that parking garage. We fit, we made it work.
I don't know, I didn't scrape the top
I got a
off.
question. How is IPS getting around the dollar issue and not the other public schools?
Well, that's part of this legislation is that they're working on, they're trying to get passed, is that part of that legislation would relieve them. But see, they're much more charter oriented in that larger district. They've got a lot, so they're trying to lessen it so that it can be used advantageously for all of the schools in Marion County.
What
Indianapolis.
they've come to realize is by having the dollar rule, schools are holding on and being less efficient than they should be at times because they don't want to lose that building to a charter school.
Mhm.
Which, there's always a negative impact to everything. So there can be some good things and bad things. Their good thing idea with the dollar rule was to keep a building that the public paid for education available to be used for education. The bad side of it is they've fostered some inefficiency in corporations that are doing everything they can to try and avoid losing a building. A charter school is a public school. That came up with the cell phone law that they're bringing
Public
in.
charter schools.
Charter
just don't-
schools will have to follow the bell to bell just as well. And now private schools don't, even though they collect state vouchers, they won't have.
There are some other things though about public charters that they don't have to follow as opposed to a regular.
Right.
I say regular, I don't know if that's the correct term, but the customary public school.
Yeah, but that's the reason. So they're seeing the effects of it in Indianapolis and IPS as the worst. So they're gonna address that right away to try and get some better things happening in Indianapolis. And I don't know if they're gonna see how that goes before they do something for the rest of the state, or if I didn't quite follow that logic, to be honest.
Kind of like a staggered start almost.
Yeah.
Well, through the
See
years,
what
yeah,
happens here.
the legislature seems to always be involved in the business of Indianapolis, that one particular city. So, and the South Bend, I mentioned the South Bend, there was a bill presented that would have taken over the South Bend school corporation, similar with more of an appointed board. Now that got pulled, and isn't going through this time, but it may be a trend that we see.
And I don't want their jobs up there either. I don't want to sound like we're bashing our legislature.
No.
Get that reputation. We're just speaking to what we heard. That's all I can think of, Rob.
No, those are the biggest things, I think.
I learned a little bit about Stan Nealon, old time hatchet basketball. All right, thank you. Anything else in information?
That's all
Big
information. It was a big one tonight.
All right. We're at that point. If anyone wanted to make any patron statements on our agenda topics, nobody signed up, so we'll move right along. We'll move into personnel. Looks like we have a retirement.
So I'd like to recommend the board accept the retirement of Anthony Barnard as our high school counselor on the completion of the 25-26 school year.
All right, I have a recommendation to approve the retirement of Mr. Barnard. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. McCormick. Anybody have any questions? Any way we can talk him out? Hate to see that, but glad for Tony. All in favor of approval? 7-0. Resignations.
I'd like to recommend the board accept the resignations of the following staff members: Viviana Galindo as high school Spanish teacher, effective at the end of the school year. Bo Burkhardt as high school basketball coach. Mackenzie Lentz as an elementary aide, effective February 3rd. Tamara Weininger as an elementary aide, effective February 9th. Travis Harper as high school assistant boys track coach, and Michelle Tarr as junior high assistant girls track coach.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve these resignations. Do I have a motion for that? From Mr. Miller, a second from Mrs. Browning. Any questions on the resignations? If not, all in favor? 7-0. No leaves, so appointments.
For appointments, would like to recommend Brian Hancock receive a stipend for working through his prep period for the remainder of the 25-26 school year, offer an additional class.
Okay, I have a motion to, or excuse me, I have a recommendation to approve the appointment for Mr. Hancock. I have a motion for that from Mr. Hernandez, second from Mr. No, I did. Hedrick. Guys, it freaked me out earlier talking about it. All right, anybody have any questions on the appointment? All in favor? 7-0. ECA appointments.
I'd like to recommend the following for ECA appointments: high school head basketball coach for 36% of the stipend, Brent Shuckman; high school assistant girls tennis coach, Heather Hill; junior high head boys golf coach. They're splitting the stipend, Kurt Kelso and Tom Denny. The next two we missed getting them approved, but they are returning coaches that served in wrestling for many years. High school head wrestling, Aaron Sissel; high school assistant wrestling, Sean Bird. Next is junior high assistant wrestling, Aaron Jake Wilson; junior high assistant girls track, Delaney Berger; junior high head girls track, they're splitting the stipend, Sawyer Covert and Will McCormick; junior high girls tennis, Kenna Garland; high school assistant boys track, Matthew Meadows; boys golf volunteer, Dominic DePass; and track volunteer coach, Jeff Owens.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the listed ECA appointments. I have a motion for that. Mr. Miller, second from Mrs. Browning. Do I have any questions or any need to split these up?
I will abstain from the one.
Okay. Can we just do it both? But Rob's abstaining from that one. Is that cool?
So,
All right.
yeah.
Or do you want to do that one separately?
Yeah, why don't we pull that one out separately just for the minutes? We can make it real clear. So do all of them except junior high head girls track.
Right.
And then do that one second.
Okay, so we'll let the motion as presented stand for all but the junior high head girls track coach, if that's okay with everyone. And Mr. McCormick's abstaining. All in favor of approval? 6-0. Now I'll take a motion again for the junior high girls track.
You're supposed to abstain from this one, not the last one.
Oh, yeah, 7-0. I got it wrong. It'll be all right. You'll fix that for me, right, Tori? Never said I was any good.
I'll make a motion for junior high head girl.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Elmer with the motion, a second from Mr. Miller. All in favor, except for Mr. McCormick this time, 6-0. Thank you, sorry. See, we start late and it just throws, I'm too old for this. All right. And no other? All right, any old business?
No business.
New business.
New business, Indiana, our FFA is requesting to attend the Indiana FFA convention in June. This is an overnight trip and it's an annual trip. I'm recommending the board approve their requests.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the FFA convention trip. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. McCormick, second from Mr. Miller. Have any questions on the FFA convention? If not, all in favor? 7-0. Looks like we got a bunch of robotics trips to approve.
Yes, Mr. Reines has submitted his request for the robotics competition schedule for this spring. And all of them are multi-day, and so some overnight situations. And then he's also planning some out-of-state trips. He'll take the team to South Carolina in April. And then he's already added, in case they qualify for the World Championships, they would have the opportunity then to travel to Houston, Texas, and that would be out of state. And then the other ones would be overnight trips.
All right. I have a recommendation to approve the various robotics trips. I have a motion for that from Mr. Cornelius, second from Mrs. Browning. Do you have any questions on that? If not, all in favor? 7-0. So the girls need some approval for tomorrow.
Yes, Mr. Cochran submitted a request for the girls' team to spend the night tomorrow night for their trip to go win a semi-state.
Like your attitude. We have a recommendation to approve the trip for the girls' basketball. We have a motion for that. Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. Miller. Anybody question that? All in favor? 7-0. All right, calendar.
I would like to recommend the school calendar presented to you for the 27-28 school year. Met with the WCTA, Quentin Myers and Joe Roach to get their input on it. Basically follows the same kind of rhythm of days off, fall break, there through the fall semester, the Christmas break, holiday break between the two semesters are 2 full weeks. Through the spring semester, we have our basic pattern of where we have our makeup days in January and February. The spring break placements basically the same, that 3rd full week of March. This one does fall with where the 180th day falls. It's a week earlier, which we've seen that here in the last 5 years. And then the other thing that we've added that would be in addition to our late start Wednesdays, we would have early releases on the last day of each semester. So the day before the holiday break in December would be it would probably be kind of like what we did today. We'll go back and fine tune it to see how much time that we can do. But the goal with that was to provide staff with end of semester type tasks, like getting grades completed and that sort of thing. So that would be a new thing. We've submitted the waiver for that year to include the early release for those days.
Okay, and this is the 27-28 calendar.
So we're 2 years out.
Okay, so just a question, the early release at the end of the semesters, is that something we're looking to go back and do for next year?
Well, we haven't. We've already had waivers approved for that year. I mean, if that's something, I was of the, let's not mess with it.
Okay, I just was curious.
We would just kind of keep it 2 years out for something to look towards, but I'm open to it
Yeah,
if you guys think on that. But
If the paperwork,
yeah, if everybody's good with it as it is, it's fine. I didn't know if we were just talking about, 2 years out or how that was going to go. So, okay. I have a recommendation to approve the 27-28 calendar as presented. I have a motion from Mr. Owen, second from Mr. Hedrick. Any other questions? All in favor of approval? 7-0. Consumables and such.
I would recommend that the board approve this consumable supplies and material fee schedule for the 26-27 school year, next school year. So last spring, the legislatures came back and they kind of eased up and just clarified that school districts can charge fees for supplies and consumables. And what I've seen, Jasper's one, Noblesville's a second, is schools going and bringing back supply fees that they've had in science classes, art classes, some STEM classes that have kind of the lab type structure to their curriculum where they're creating stuff. And just in the environment that we're in, where dollars are tight, And, you know, some of these classes are core classes and are required classes, but I do think it's something that, we're not asking too much, for some of these charges to bring back, just to help us cover the supply fees that it takes to facilitate some of these classes.
Okay, I have a recommendation to approve the consumable supplies and materials fees for, and that is for 26-27.
It's for 26-27, and just the other clarification, in case anybody's watching or anything, is for the junior high and high school. It's just at the secondary level.
Okay. So I have a recommendation to approve that. Do I have a motion for it? Mr. Hitter, second from Mr. Cornelius. Anybody have any other questions on this? I would add, Mr. Frank, that as they were talking about that potential cell phone fees or whatever, it was brought up by legislature that superintendents have this ability, just like we're doing here. They've granted that. That's why they don't know that that'll be legislated, but you know, there could be other things besides just these materials in the future that would come under that scope. And, you know, with the budget that we've got, we'll have to keep an eye on those sort of things. All right, all in favor of approval? 7-0. The tag stipend.
I'd like to recommend the following teachers that are presented to you as the recipients of the 25-26 tag. So the state of Indiana changed the tag grant stipend program going into this year, where it had been a system where essentially all teachers that had effective or highly effective ratings would receive some type of tax stipend. And that usually came around December. So they've changed it. They changed the allocation 1-for-1 to where we can only award up to 20% of our staff. And then they have very defined categories for how teachers must qualify and essentially apply for these various tax stipends. So we had 52 teachers apply, 51 qualified for one of the categories. And our allocation, we had a committee of administrators and teachers, Matt Ryan, Kristen, and Cody were all part of that, with a few others. And so we decided for our staff that we wanted to maximize the number of stipends to give out. So we did the $3,500 category, and that allowed us to give out 26 stipends. And so because we had more qualified and teachers than stipends, we did do a random draw to identify who was receiving them. And these are the teachers that will receive the stipend for this year. One of the things that we talked about to put into our system is as we ranked each teacher, we did keep track of who qualified for a higher category, even though we weren't giving the category 2 and category 3, and we assigned them basically a value. And so if there were any teachers that didn't get selected, we are going to allow them to carry their value to end of next year. Now they have to apply again next year for next year's stipend, but to basically give them a better chance if we're in the same situation again, where we have more teachers qualified than stipends to give. We're using this system to give those teachers a chance, a higher weighted chance, I guess, to receive the stipend next year.
All right.
Could these 26 theoretically get it again next year
They could.
and not the other, however many's left?
Right.
There's no, okay.
We made some alterations. You know, we really didn't get the full like rules until like September on exactly how each teacher had to qualify. So we made some modifications for this year so that we wanted it to be fair in terms of teachers being able to apply and to show how they're impacting student learning. Now, what we've told them, and we've had in our administrative meetings and talked to the principals about working with your staff for next year, they have to be like doing the assessments and data analysis for this year, and they'll use this year's data to apply for next year's stipend. We didn't get the rules of the stipend essentially until September, so a lot of people didn't necessarily have the right type of data from last year. So we allowed them to do an assessment cycle this last fall to use for their learning data, and we've told them that was just a one-year thing just to kind of get into this new system. And so since we all know what the rules are, next year you have to use data from the prior year. So kind of what I'm getting at is that might impact, that could increase the number of teachers that we have that apply for it. That might decrease, maybe it'll be about the same, around 50 or so.
The only thing that would concern me is like you keep getting the same stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that,
Every year,
we'll
every
have
year,
to
every
see.
year. And
That's one that I hope they take another look at and they kind of tweak it in some way. Because we just feel like it's a culture, like it's a negativity to the culture when we're putting teachers up against each other like that. I mean, I get it, recognize your best teachers and all that, but there's just some negativity to it too.
yeah, I can see that. If you lower that number, the 3,500 number, you can obviously get more teachers.
Well, the 3,500 is the lowest we could go because that was the amount set by statute. So we couldn't go any lower than that.
Our local control has been modified quite a bit since this original idea came about. Because it was available, and then over time, it's like, well, no, you have to differentiate. You've got to have people getting more than others, and then who's included. And we've gotten to this point where there's so many dollars and so much per rate. And here you go. You got local control. You figure it out. Well, as Mr. Frank indicated, the potential negative impact.
I see that.
I mean, and I wanted to piggybacking off. I wanted to ask: is this strictly for classroom teachers, or some are people who are not a regular classroom person? Are they eligible at all for any of this?
So it's classroom teachers, the teachers that are included in our pool are co-op teachers that aren't our employees, but they're in our buildings.
Mm-hmm.
They work for Davies Market Special Ed Co-op. So they were included. The one position that's probably not like a teacher, but works with kids and has data would be a speech pathologist, speech therapist. Those would be the ones that might be a little bit different, but they were always included in the regular tag.
Uh-huh. So this now doesn't include, because we had librarians, we had social workers, we had those other people who help contribute.
Yeah,
to
those
kids' success.
social workers did not qualify.
No, those people qualify now.
Yeah, you had, one of the requirements is that they had a group of assigned students that they were working with on some sort of curriculum, speech therapist would be on improvement of speech. And they can show them with their group of kids, the type of gains that they made with that group of kids. So counselors, social workers didn't qualify, librarians didn't qualify. Yeah.
That's what I thought, but I just want to confirm it. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a recommendation to approve the list of TAG grant recipients for this year. You have a motion to approve that. Mr. McCormick, second from Mrs. Browning. Any other questions or discussion on grants? If not, all in favor? 7-0. No other? No other. items? Okay, anybody signed up to get patron statements on non-agenda topics? Okay, no. So we'll get to our information items.
Information items, first, we'll have a work session on March 19th before the regular March board meeting at 6 o'clock. We have some individuals from Shoals coming to speak about their outdoor farm learning center. I'm also gonna have Mr. Holland and Ms. Knowling, the ag teacher, present, and just kind of talking, just kind of some ideas on what something like that might look like here as a starting point. It's just an exploratory meeting. There's really no set plans per se. It's really, we'll, work with Tori to kind of advertise and to see if we can generate some interest among the ag community in Washington that'll want to come see. It's a little bit of kind of measuring what type of local support we would have, because obviously we don't have a lot of discretionary funds to put towards something like that. So it'd have to be a lot of local fundraising and sponsorships and that sort of funding. But again, just very exploratory. Rob, Sarah, Garrett, myself went and visited back in January. It's impressive. So a lot of this is just to kind of get everybody else up to speed on what it is and, just kind of start maybe dreaming a little bit about what we might have here. Regular board meeting will be at 7 o'clock here. And obviously good luck to the Lady Hatchets on Saturday. Good luck to the Golden Pride. So they start their winter wins season, competitive season up at Greenfield.
Greenfield Central, all that.
The Hatchet dance team is another one. They don't compete this Saturday. I think they're a week from Saturday, but they're a group that is very serious and very competitive, and they've got some big dates coming up. So I wanted to mention them too.
Congratulations to Jordan Emick. They run through the Sim State wrestling team. I think there's a couple other kids that made regional too. I don't blank on names. Sounded like they had a successful season as well. Good luck to the boys team tomorrow night on senior night. Hope we have a big crowd at the Hatchet House for that. Do I have anything else to bring before the board? Not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn from Mr. Hedrick, second from Mr. Miller. All in favor? 7-0. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, folks.